Welcome to this week's episode. This week we're talking about aviation promo videos, 3 winning flight plans.
Cool.
So this episode is being brought to you by our content marketing program. And actually you can choose videos as your content in this program. So some people choose to do one long article with lots of citations and other things, and not like airplane citations, but like document citations, attributions and other things. So one well-researched good article, or you may choose 4 short videos. There's lots of things that you can do with our content marketing program. Basically what it is we sit with you, we talk about what you need, we brainstorm some ideas that are going to be the most effective material to reach your customers and fit the problems in your sales situation.
Typically, we sit with you virtually.
Usually over Zoom, teleconferencing and things like that to brainstorm these ideas, and then we execute those ideas for you and put those together. So video is one of the options in our content marketing program, and a lot more people are using a lot more video than when we started this program a few years ago, when it was all articles and text was king, right?
Yes. In
search engine optimization and all that, but things have changed.
So text goes away, or is not king here, but it still is on phones.
Yeah, which is interesting, but that's a whole nother story. And anyway, often when we do video, we can also do a transcript, so we end up with words anyway. Okay. Exactly. So why video?
Because people don't have a long
attention
span and they don't like to read.
Right, exactly. So, and video is everywhere nowadays. Every social media, every device, everybody is really capable of receiving video, even if they weren't a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. They're not social media users. Okay, well, they do watch YouTube, likely. Or they didn't have a smartphone a couple of years ago, but now they do. Mm-hmm. You almost can't get away from it, right? And waiting in line for something, you end up watching YouTube videos or whatever.
Or on a bus, or who knows.
Exactly. So 82% of Twitter users watch video content on Twitter. And actually, Twitter is kind of new, or video is kind of new to Twitter. It used to be just little bits of text, and now you look at my Twitter feed, and it's probably 1/3 of it is videos.
Wow.
Yeah, and 2/3 text. So it's much different than it was a year ago. YouTube has over 1 billion users. Almost 1/3 of total internet users use YouTube. 45% of people watch more than an hour of Facebook or YouTube videos a week. It adds up, and it's not all cat videos either. More than 500 million hours of videos are watched on YouTube each day. Part of that is because now people are actually watching movies on YouTube. They've got some subscription services and things like that where people are watching entire movies, and it's replacing their TV. Some people are cutting the cable and just using a YouTube subscription. 87% of online marketers use video content. So this is not all movies and cat videos and things like that. Views on branded video content have increased 258% on Facebook and 99% on YouTube as of June 2017. So it's 2-year-old data, but it's actually a little more credible than what I could find for 2019.
Yeah, I'm sure.
2018 is just barely over, well, as far as statisticians are concerned. So I'm sure it is more than that now. Over the last year, we've seen such an increase in the number of our customers who are wanting to use video and are getting good results from it. Okay, speaking of results, so, people are obviously watching it, but are they getting results? Social video generates 12 times more shares than text and images combined. 51% of marketing professionals worldwide name video as the type of content with the best ROI. Part of that is because it's trackable. You can see that people came to you from a video and then made a purchase. So you can track them all the way through that process, which is kind of cool.
So 12 times, does that mean 1,200%?
12 times more shares. So 1 versus 12. You know, a static image would get 1 share.
100% would be 2.
Right. So that's 100. That's 1,200%.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah. You're the mathematician. Okay. Yeah. Marketers who use video grow revenue 49% faster than non-video users. Consumers are 64% more likely to make a purchase from a brand after watching branded social videos. I've done that. I have watched a video on a product and then purchased it, the socks I'm wearing right now. Bombas, if you've ever seen one of their social videos, they talk about donating to homeless shelters, and they also talk about the fact that they have no toe seam. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves, is having a seam across your toe knuckles. There's no reason for that, and these socks don't have toe knuckle seams. So anyway.
We'll see if anybody catches my math error.
Okay, did we make an error?
Keep going.
Okay, cool. 59% of executives agree that if both text and video are available on the same topic, they are more likely to choose video. And this is not because they are stupid, it is because they are lazy, or because they have so many other things to do that they don't want to expend more energy than they need to getting them the information they want. That's
you
the
can't
smart
just slap a video out there. You buy their time 7 seconds at a time.
Exactly. That is absolutely true. So it has to be an effective video, and we're going to talk about that too. Okay. Now, a lot of people are going to say, I don't want to be on video. In fact, almost every one of our clients has said that at one point or another.
Me too.
I know. And here we are.
Here we are.
Because it's so effective. But there are ways to do it without you being on video. And if you absolutely do not want to be on video, you absolutely do not need to be on video.
Of course.
Okay. So what is video marketing? A lot of people think that it's this, having the 60 Minutes camera crew invade your office and having to do makeup and lighting and sound and have all this equipment. And
you can do that.
And you can absolutely do that. And there is nothing wrong with doing a very professional, well-produced video, and there's a time and a place for that.
In fact, we have done not quite that extent on the hardware, but we've done similar things for people.
Absolutely. Okay, there are also other ways of doing this. If you have ever watched Ancient Aliens or any show on the History Channel, you will notice they do this a lot. This is called the Ken Burns effect. They have some historical subject where there is no video, right, of a topic, but they have to make it interesting or they have to make it exciting. So what they do is they take still photographs or documents or whatever, and they use what they call the Ken Burns effect to pan the camera over to one thing and maybe blow it up a little. And
that's right.
It makes it much more engaging than just a still photo. And it's really artistic. It's actually pretty interesting when I find myself getting into a TV show and I'm going, we're just looking at a bunch of photographs,
yeah.
And you don't realize it because you're so involved in the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You can use animation. There is software that does that much better now than they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So there's lots of ways to do this. What we want to do is not get you hung up on the tools and do get you hung up on the story that you're trying to sell, right? Okay.
Well said.
So how to make a successful video. Form follows function. Who said that?
Yeah.
Frank Lloyd Wright, right? Okay. The corollary when it comes to video marketing, which Frank Lloyd Wright was not around for, but if he had been around for it, the story matters more than the tools you use to tell it.
Of course.
Okay, so if you can't afford a monstrous video crew or you don't have time for that or whatever, if you can tell a good story or if we can help you outline a good story, then we can find a way to tell it using video that's much more compelling than mere text, right? Okay, so let's talk about 3 different promo videos, flight plans for promo videos that you can use. These are suitable for any industry. So whether you're a broker or a charter company or a insurance guy or girl or a contract pilot or whatever, yeah, whatever your profession, you can use all of these examples. You can find a way, and trust me, if you can't, we can. So give us a call, we'll sit down and we'll brainstorm some ideas with you. Okay, so the first one is the state of the industry or the status report. So what is the question that people ask you when you tell them what you do at parties? So, you know, when somebody walks up to John at a party and says, "What do you do?" and you say, "Aviation consulting," and they say,
"No, I say I work for you."
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. Okay, but then what question do they ask you when you say you work in aviation consulting?
Really?
Is that going up or down? Mm-hmm. How is business? You know, how's business this year? Mm-hmm. How is the latest political whatever affecting your business? You know, it's some version of what's going on,
right?
Exactly. So giving a state of the industry or a status report is a really good way to answer that question and tell people, you know, this is what's going on in our industry, and position you as, I really do work in this industry and I really do know what's going on. Mm-hmm. Okay. Second, the behind the scenes view at your company. This is how we make the magic happen. You may not want to tell them all of how you make the magic happen.
You don't give them the secret sauce, but you give them the
credibility.
What, not the how.
Exactly, the transparency and the credibility, so that they know, okay, well, I know something more about how this works, so I'm going to go with this company because I know how they do business, mm-hmm. as opposed to that company, which keeps everything all behind the curtains and mysterious, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the third one is the question and answer video, which can be one question or several, but we'll give you some examples from our clients. So the first one is conveying industry knowledge with status reports that aren't boring. And Gene Clow of GC Aircraft, or Great Circle Aircraft, is probably the best I know of at this. He does a state of the private jet resale market every month. And it's great because he explains what's going on and he talks through. And we actually just started doing videos. It used to be that he would put this out in text and didn't get a whole lot of engagement. But then we started doing these cartoony, and these are all animated. So, you know, Gene doesn't show up on video. I'm trying to get him to show up on video. So, Gene, if you're watching, we definitely need to do this. But you are proof positive that we can be effective not using your face on video.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. And he's always done cartoons to demonstrate certain facts and things like that. So we're going to show you the August business jet market update, which is, I think, a great way of demonstrating what's going on.
Exactly.
Cool. Next. Okay, the second way of the second flight plan for an aviation promotion video or promo video is the behind the scenes view. And this is one of our favorite rock stars, Jordan Gallant from Turbines Inc., demonstrating a dye penetration test. Now, I don't know about you, but I have never seen a dye penetration test in real life. And I've never really understood why it's important or how it works.
I have.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, dye penetration tests. I used to watch those quite frequently in the military.
Cool. But I think there's probably a lot of people that have never seen one.
Mm-hmm.
And in this video, and it's just an 11-minute, almost 12-minute video, but he shows some key items that he can detect and shows how it's done, and you get to see Turbines' facility for this. They've got a dark room, which a lot of their competitors don't have, for doing the dye penetration tests, and he explains how that's important and explains what he uses, and it's just really, really fascinating. So those of us who love the how it's made videos, this is a really cool one that's kind of like that, except that it goes a step further and promotes confidence in your company because your people know what they're doing. Okay, if you wanted to do one of these and you didn't want to be on camera, you could do that as well. You know, you could be behind the camera, giving a tour of your facility.
Okay, we're in the NDT
Saying
room.
this
You
is
can
our-
even do this
Yeah.
without your
This side
face.
of the room.
Exactly.
This is
You know, you
where
can
I
just do
do
your hands like they
the
do in a lot of the cooking
dye penetration
shows.
inspections, which is required.
There's
by
a lot of
craft.
ways of doing this,
What
or
it
you know, let's say you
consists
do
of
insurance or
using different
taxes or
levels
something like
of
that. You
dye,
could go through
different
like a dummy
sensitivities for
portfolio
different parts.
and say, here's the process that I go through, and just use maybe the Ken Burns effect on the
use
documents
a-
and just say,
for the
here's
lower
something
stuff,
that, here's some important
one of
pieces
the
that we're looking for,
SPOPs, the
and
spots
why
you're
this is
allowed to use
important.
for lower
Okay,
grade
so that's the
sensitivity
behind the
stuff. We use
scenes
water
view.
wash.
The third
So,
flight
one of the
plan
first steps
for
we do is
aviation promo
come in
videos
here,
is
when the part's
the question
clean,
and answer.
being
And this
media
one is
blasted and
from
degreased.
Aerostar, and it's
And this
their
is just
10
for
steps
the
to becoming an
educational
airline
purposes.
pilot. So a lot of
So
people
the
ask
parts are all
them,
clean right here. I
how
have
long is it going to take? How much is
ZL60D,
it
I have
going to
a container
cost?
down here.
What's the
This is
process
what's rated
of
for
becoming an
medium
airline pilot?
sensitivity.
So
it's what we
they
use
go through
on
this
the majority of everything
video.
except for rotor group stuff, which has to have a high sensitivity.
Okay,
and a lot of other
so
stuff.
thank you for joining us. And once again, this episode was brought to
So
you
you
by
begin
our
by
content marketing program. And
spraying
if
it
you
and
are
applying it to the
at a
part. I
loss
have a
still,
combustion
which you
line
might be,
here that I can
as
see
to
it's
how
been
you can
sprayed.
use
It's been sitting here
video
for a while.
promo videos to
And I have
promote
a
your
large
aviation
desiccant
company,
duct,
that is
which
what
has
we
been
do
sprayed
all
on the
day, every day.
inside,
And we
and it's already
certainly
started
have
to
some
run
ideas
down
for
in
you.
there.
So we do free consultations.
So yeah,
Give us a
we would
call,
normally start by
702-987-1679,
spraying the entire part
or click the
from
button
top
on
to
our
bottom.
website and schedule a free consultation.
Absolutely.
Very
All right.
thoroughly.
We look forward to talking with you, and have a great week.
See you next time.
Other methods are dip tank method, but it's you use a lot more dye, and you have to make sure that the dye stays clean. So you risk contamination and having to throw away a bunch of the unused dye that you only used once or twice. Okay, so that part's sitting. This part's ready to be rinsed. So on the rinse side of things, per the spec that I'm certified under for our MagnaFlux and dye penetrant, the water wash system has to be done at a designated pressure and a designated temperature. So we have readouts and gauges and everything in here that are calibrated to tell us the temperature of the water, which has to be, I think it's a max of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Water pressure, we generally run at about 20. You can be a little bit higher than that. I think 40 is the max. So once the water starts to warm up, we're going to rinse the part off thoroughly. Okay, now I'm going to go over there where you are. I'm just going to set this over here. Set this on this area to kind of sit there and drip dry. Having a designated area like this, a dark room that we made in here, definitely makes it easier. You can do it There's different dyes and powders you can use for daylight, but having a nicer setup like this makes it a lot easier. You're able to get the room darker for more accurate results, but it is required on an overhaul level to do NDT on just about every part. There are, exceptions, but there is a lot of stuff that requires dye penetrant or magnaflux. So. This will be a good one, because there legitimately is a giant crack right there. That's why it's pulling water out. I don't think it's going to even glow because it's so big. It will if I can get it dry. This is big. No, right there. This large duct is cracked in a couple spots. It's still got water coming out, but it's pretty obvious. This is our black UV light that has to be tested every day for the black light intensity. This is what we use to determine your cracks. Normally the lights are not off or not on, but these cracks in this particular part are so obvious. In the water, there's a lot of water in there. So what we'll end up doing with this part is it'll go and get put in an oven to dry out the moisture inside here, and then it'll go through our repair side of the building and get fixed. Okay, so if this was off, the idea is to have, in a perfect world, get it absolutely as clean as possible so you don't have a lot of this residual greening everywhere. So like in a perfect world, it would be, absolutely clean, and all that you would see would be a crack or a defect. Like on the outside back here, as you can see, the dye will continue to bleed out through the cracks, exposing them. But in this particular case, we have a lot of excessive water. It really just, it's going to point out like surface breaks and irregularities. If you have, a lot of the time you can generally see these cracks before it gets to this stage of dye penetrant. You still do the dye penetrant, but a lot of times, like you can see this crack with the naked eye along this seam weld, which is a pretty common place for these large ducts to crack. And by putting dye on there, the dye is going to go into the crack. And once you rinse it, you rinse off all the excessive dye. What you have left is a clean surface like this, and then you put your developer on, and the developer kind of blots the dye out of the crack to expose it. But in this certain instance, these cracks are pretty big and obvious. Right now I'm just going to mark these so that when I take it over to be fixed, the welder can see and identify what we need to be fixing easier instead of having to go over there and point them out. I'm just marking the areas that are cracked. Another reason is you're only allowed so much cracking and cracks along the seam weld. So it's a good idea to kind of mark them. That gives you an easier way to kind of measure everything and make sure they're not too long or too much or not enough solid parent material in between. So this is definitely a good case that we can fix, and that's what we'll do. Yeah, because generally a lot of shops usually have to send this kind of stuff out because they don't have the right certified guy doing the welding or the right equipment. So having it all available to us makes the process a lot faster and more efficient. Plus, being on a scale where I can go over and talk to him and he can come over and talk to me, on a basis like that, it makes a lot faster and easier instead of having to like call the place you sent it to and say, hey, I got it back and it's not right, or call and say I need this and this done. It's a lot easier. I can look it up. I know the spec. Per the manual, I can go over and show him what it needs, tell him what it needs. He can fix it, bring it back. We'll recheck it. Same process all over again, and ensure that it's good. And then once we're good and we know it's all good to go, then the part's good and it passes the NDT portion of the inspection, and then it goes on to dimensional, make sure nothing's kind of out of whack, and if it has to be reworked, it gets reworked, and if everything's good, then it's considered an overhauled conditioned part. This also makes our turn times a lot faster. Like I said, being able to have a relationship with the guys over in the machine shop and the weld shop and go over there and take care of things, firsthand, it makes the whole process a lot faster. We're not having to, certain instances we do have to send some things out that we can't repair. We don't have the ability to do it, but for the most part, a lot of the things that we fix here, like this large duct is a very common piece, we can fix in-house. That makes the, turn time on this part. We can, if this got sent today, this would leave today. We can turn these small, stuff like this, we can turn around in a day. Even a combustion liner, like you saw earlier, those are pretty fast turnaround stuff, mainly because of the setup we have here. It's set up to be fast and very accurate.
Okay, if you wanted to do one of these and you didn't want to be on camera, you could do that as well. You could be behind the camera, giving a tour of your facility, saying
or
this
you
is
could
our...
even do this without your face.
Exactly. You could just do your hands like they do in a lot of the cooking shows. There's a lot of ways of doing this. Or, let's say you do insurance or taxes or something like that. You could go through like a dummy portfolio and say, here's the process that I go through, and just use maybe the Ken Burns effect on the documents and just say, here's some important pieces that we're looking for and why this is important.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the behind the scenes view. The third flight plan for Aviation Promo videos is the question and answer. And this one is from Aerostar, and it's their 10 steps to becoming an airline pilot. So a lot of people ask them, how long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost? What's the process of becoming an airline pilot? So they go through this. Okay, so thank you for joining us. And once again, this episode was brought to you by our content marketing program. And if you are at a loss still, which you might be, as to how you can use video promo videos to promote your aviation company. That is what we do all day, every day, and we certainly have some ideas for you. So we do free consultations. Give us a call, 702-987-1679, or click the button on our website and schedule a free consultation.
Absolutely.
All right. We look forward to talking with you, and have a great week.
See you next time.